Hey everyone, welcome to Big Flick Energy. So here we finally have the ending of the DC 10-year plan. So we did 2 episodes. If you guys haven't seen those, check them out, where we covered the first 8.5 years, and now these last 1.5 years. It's the grand finale. It's pretty much the Avengers Endgame and Avengers Infinity War of this universe, but it's even larger. It has a couple of more projects in the middle, but every single project will tie into this main story. So here we go. So the first project we're going to go to is Justice League Immortal, otherwise known as Justice League 3. So this film will be about Vandal Savage, who actually had a film earlier, searching for the anti-life equation. He finds it by first killing Wonder Girl, and Wonder Woman almost losing her life at his hands. So this makes Wonder Woman tell the rest of the Justice League of this threat, and they're constantly playing catch-up, trying to get to Vandal. Vandal will face against a lot of heroes individually with the new tools he's acquired from Wonder Girl. So at the beginning of the 3rd act, Darkseid arrives to retrieve the anti-life equation, but must first face off against the Watchtower and all of the Green Lanterns protecting Earth, who Razor finds out early in the film escaped, while the Guardians held back Darkseid and his forces. So, Razor also gets the Red Lanterns to help because he leaves the Red Lanterns. So the Red Lanterns, Green Lanterns, and Watchtower are all there to help stop Darkseid from landing on Earth. And also remember, the Watchtower in this universe is actually Brainiac's ship that Cyborg is in control of, but it's actually not Cyborg, it is Brainiac, or a program similar to Brainiac called Grid. So, the Red Lanterns, Green Lanterns, and Watchtower are all there to help stop Darkseid from landing on Earth, but he sends out all of his soldiers with the new Nth metal armor and Thanagarian weapons to attack where his army is a lot larger than the Lanterns. And remember, he got those weapons from the Hawkman and Hawkgirl film. So Darkseid and his army face off against the heroes, and Darkseid eventually gets hold of the anti-life equation and uses it. Here we see scenes we saw in Zack Snyder's Justice League come to fruition, with Lois dying and Superman turning to the dark side. At the same moment he uses it though, Constantine opens up a portal to Purgatory to save himself. Remember that the other 2 Constantines in the Constantine film 0 Hour used that ability to just go to Purgatory when they thought they were going to die. So this Constantine decides to use that ability so that he is not affected by the anti-life equation. So in the end credit, he returns to Earth to see it's become the Nightmare World from Batman's nightmares in Batman vs Superman and Zack Snyder's Justice League. And this ties into the next project, a TV show called Nightmare Season 1. So, in this show, Constantine is the only one to not be affected by the anti-life equation, and he's on a mission to save heroes from it. He starts finding certain heroes to make a team, and his plan is to eventually find Flash, bring him back, and get Flash to revert everything back to the way it was. So a team member does ask him why he can't get another Flash from the multiverse to do it, and Constantine basically says that if a Flash from another universe time travels and changes something about both universes, it links both of the universes together and will create wormholes between the 2, which could become a much larger issue down the road. So Constantine says we need to find this Flash. So they eventually find him and tell him they don't care how many changes there are to the new world he will make, he just has to fix this. And keep in mind, he is going to be affected by Darkseid, so they have to somehow cure him from the anti-life equation, which is going to be led by Constantine because he knows how to cure people from it. So, Flash goes far back and removes Vandal Savage from the picture in the past. When Flash returns to the present day, the Nightmare World is gone, but things are different, as a comic-accurate Flashpoint has just occurred that we see through a Gotham billboard saying alien escapes from high-security government facility with a picture of an extremely skinny Superman, which is actually pretty accurate to the comics for Superman's story in the Flashpoint timeline. So, that brings us perfectly into the next project, Flashpoint Season 1. So, this is also the beginning of 2033, and this is when things get very interesting. So pretty much, it's an anthology series of a couple of different things in this new Flashpoint timeline. So one episode is going to focus on Wonder Woman versus Aquaman and the Amazons versus the Atlanteans. Another episode is going to focus on skinny Superman and his escape from prison. And another is going to focus on Thomas Wayne Batman and Martha Wayne Joker, where Bruce Wayne was the one to die in that universe. And Thomas Wayne became Batman, and Martha Wayne went crazy after that and became Joker. Now, that's all I'm going to say about that project, because it's going to be very accurate to the comics. I'm not going to change much, but it will tie in directly to the next project, the Flash Paradigm Shift. So this film will show Flash in shock of all the changes to the universe, and he'll go find Thomas Wayne Batman to talk it over with him. Wayne gives him the idea that he'll have to stop himself from killing Vandal Savage in the past. So he goes back in time and stops himself, telling that Barry to go back to his time, that this action makes the future not recognizable, and that he will solve this and the timelines will become one again. He goes back, and then Barry goes back to the present, where now Vandal is alive, and the world is still the Flashpoint world, as he lands in the middle of the Themyscira Atlantis War. So he's extremely confused because why is it still the same? And basically he has to escape, and then goes back in time to see what happened. When he goes back and sees the 2 Barrys speaking to each other, after they leave, A third figure comes in a yellow suit and tries to kill Savage, but Barry is able to stop him first. These two figures begin to fight in prehistoric times until this yellow figure is able to stab Barry. Flash asks this character who he is, and he says he is a Flash from the future in the Flashpoint timeline, and his name is Immortal. And Barry is trying to erase his timeline despite being its original creator. Barry will say a little joke saying he's like a remade universe Flash, or like a reverse Flash, to which Reverse Flash says that's not what the word reverse means. So eventually Barry tells him what happened as Reverse Flash tries to convince him that he can stay in this universe instead of going back to his dead universe that Darkseid took over. Barry tells him that maybe they can keep both timelines intact. He mentions that the timelines collapse on each other, but if both work together, this won't happen as the timelines will be confused as to who is the main timeline, and it will cause a rift allowing for two timelines in the same universe. So Thawne is going to agree to this, and the two begin to work together, trying to design the perfect plan of when to go and change the timeline without screwing so much up. Throughout their conversations, they decide on the day Vandal killed Wonder Girl, so they go to stop it from happening and succeed. The end of the movie shows Flash back at that day with Wonder Girl, and he tells her that we need to unite all the heroes for the arrival of Darkseid, which is setting up the grand finale of the Justice League films, even though there are two projects after. So the end credit is going to show Reverse Flash after he said his goodbyes to Barry, so he time travels forwards, and he can't find his home. He starts crying and then screams, and his eyes turn red with lightning because he realized Barry screwed him over. So this is going to set him up for a future film as the villain, and he will officially be Reverse Flash. Now, to the largest project in this universe, Justice League Apocalypse War. Now, a lot happens in this film, so try to keep up. So this film is the grand finale of the 10-year plan, despite having two projects after this one. The beginning of the film will be a flashback to the end of the Flash paradigm shift, so this film will be a massive battle, but we'll start with Hawkgirl and her people on her world, as we see John Stewart approach them to ask them for help in the war that Flash told them about. Hawkgirl denies as John brings up what Hawkman would have done, and he flies away. But Hawkgirl does allow him to take Nth Metal with him for an unspecified purpose we will later find out. We will return to Earth as the heroes prepare for battle, and in this process we will see some of the heroes try to get certain characters on the team. So we see some heroes break loose cannon out of prison. Amongst these heroes will be Batman, Black Canary, Robin, Batgirl, Bloodsport, Orphan, Blue Beetle, and Superman said for them to take Superboy just in case something goes wrong. So this portion of the film will be sort of like a heist, which will be pretty cool to see. It will also be pretty cool to explore a relationship between Bloodsport and Superboy, where Bloodsport tells Superboy he put Superman in the hospital once. We will see Superman come on board the Watchtower later on in the film, and Grid Cyborg is forced to explain to Superman why Lobo and Lex are on board, saying they were trying to escape, but he held them back and told them of the war, which they said they would help with. He said he had to pay Lobo, but Lex is still from Earth and wants to help protect it. Another group will be Harley reaching out to the surviving Suicide Squad members, like King Shark, Deadshot, Peacemaker, and anybody else alive from the 4 Suicide Squad films, where they will arrive in the middle of the eventual fight against Darkseid. Outside of this, we will see Razor and John Stewart go approach all the Lanterns about the upcoming war and ask for help, where Green, Blue, Red, Indigo, and Violet budge, leaving Yellow and Orange by themselves, but the galaxy does not yet know about Black and White Lanterns yet, nor about Ultraviolet Lanterns, which Ultraviolet Lanterns actually recently were made in the comics, so we're not going to explore that yet. In this portion of the film, we will also see Mary Marvel, who became the next Shazam after Billy Batson died. The rest of the Shazam family, Static Shock, Dr. Fate, Aquaman, Wonder Woman, Flash, and Wonder Girl go to Kahndaq to recruit Black Adam. This moment will be tense as it will show Static Shock and the Shazam family coming face to face with Black Adam yet again, but Black Adam will come to help as Static Shock and Mary Marvel explain the situation. On the way over to get to Black Adam, Freddy will have a conversation with Dr. Fate asking him how the helmet works. Obviously, he's extremely interested in superheroes, so it's going to be a scene where he's going crazy over this guy that has magic. So Black Adam will agree to join the team, and eventually Darkseid arrives and the grand battle begins. The fight has already begun as the Watchtower, the Lanterns, Superman, and Lobo fight in space. The ground team isn't ready for Darkseid though, as Batman's heist is still in the works. The only teams grounded are Black Adam's team and Constantine's team, along with Harley Quinn. However, with Black Adam's team, we do get Aquaman and Wonder Woman, which each bring the armies of Atlantis and Themyscira to help in the war. Aquaman also brings Karathan to the fight. Karathan is the giant kaiju that was in his film that he rode at the end of the first Aquaman. We will also have Martian Manhunter, who revealed himself as a Martian to the US earlier in the film, call for the armies of Man to help in the war, since he is a general. This will lead to a scene where we will see the armies of Man, Themyscira, and Atlantis reunite for the first time since the first war against Darkseid. So in this first part of the fight, this is when specific characters get killed. including Martian Manhunter, Mary Marvel, and Dr. Fate. After Mary Marvel is killed, the rest of the Shazam family instantly lose their powers, so obviously they're still kids. Obviously they've aged up a little bit since the last film, but they are still young and they're powerless, so they're all scared. Since Freddy doesn't have his walking stick, he's stuck on the ground until Black Adam actually protects him from getting killed. Now, in the battle, we will also see the Helmet of Fate on the ground after the death of the character, as the helmet needs a new host. Freddy sees Fate dead on the ground and crawls over to him as he puts on the helmet, becoming the new host for the Helmet of Fate. Freddy has a conversation with the helmet that tells him there's another magic that wants him as well, as he's been chosen as the next Shazam. But he tells the helmet he's done letting others choose his destiny and sees somebody else as more deserving of the role of Shazam, as they're better at leading the team, Static Shock. So, Static Shock will become the new Shazam, although he will keep the name Static Shock, where he'll look pretty similar to how he looked before Static Shock, with an upgraded suit and upgraded powers. So it's still going to have the same color lightning, it's still going to have the same color suit, but he's going to look bigger, and the lightning's going to look a lot stronger. After the sequence where both Freddy and Static Shock get a major upgrade, Aquaman is about to get killed as well by Calabac, until Loose Cannon jumps in to punch him. These two characters will have a pretty epic fight here, similar to Hulk vs. Abomination. Along with him arrive all the Heist team members, along with the Suicide Squad members. So around this point, Darkseid's forces have broken through the space team completely, and the Watchtower is heavily dismantled, with multiple Lanterns dead, as Superman, John Stewart, Razor, Lobo, Grid Cyborg, and others return to the ground to help in the fight there. This is around when we start seeing different characters like Peacemaker die. Even Loose Cannon gets taken out by Darkseid himself, as Calabac was getting beaten up by him until Darkseid stepped in to fight him. And then Darkseid destroyed him. He's still alive, but he got destroyed in a similar way to Hulk getting destroyed by Thanos. When it seems like they may lose, and John Stewart is on the ground about to get killed by Calabac, after Calabac recovered from his Loose Cannon fight, John sees wings in the sunset fly down and smack Calabac, this being Hawkgirl, and we then see her entire race come down to help as well. In the final battle where Darkseid has arrived at the anti-life equation, he is faced with Batman, Superman, Black Adam, Grid Cyborg, and Flash, while he has Calabac, dceu, Granny Goodness, and Deathspawn on his side. When Grid Cyborg attacks Darkseid, Darkseid will recognize him and call him Brainiac in his ear, so nobody else hears him say that, basically saying, you think that you can fool them, Brainiac, but you can't fool me. But it shocks Cyborg and allows Darkseid to knock him away. We will have a scene where Flash gets hit by the Omega Beams while running away from them, a scene where Superman uses his own beams to fight the Omega Beams, and a scene where Batman somehow blocks the Omega Beams. Also, while it seems pretty unrealistic for Batman to hold his own in this fight, Batman will get a Hellbat suit towards the beginning of the film before all the heroes go their separate ways to recruit other characters. Basically, the Hellbat suit is a Batman suit created by all of the Justice League members, and here it will be similar to the one in the comics, and it is meant to be strong enough to take on a threat like Darkseid. This one is going to be built in the following way. So the husk was forged in the sun by Superman, which is made of nth metal. John Stewart took with him when he went to Themyscira to recruit Hawkgirl. The wings were created with Green Lantern's powers, along with a power giving him extra armor like how it looked in the Injustice game with any character on Red Sun Green Lantern's team. Flash worked on the suit to be able to handle the Speed Force and to add speed to the list of the suit's powers. Cyborg worked on the technology of the suit, which gave it a Jarvis-like program called Grid, where Cyborg obviously has a plan down the road for this suit, and a power energy blast from the Bat Chest insignia, where at the end of the Man of Steel 3, where Cyborg shows Lex's suit, we also see blueprints for this suit. Aquaman worked on the suit to help it withstand insane pressures as he brought it to the bottom of the Mariana Trench. Wonder Woman prayed to the gods to enchant the armor with their strength. John Constantine provided a protection spell to the suit similar to Strange Supremes in Marvel What If series, but it turns out the protection spell slowly kills whoever protects, so this suit should not be used again unless of an emergency. In this final fight, Wonder Woman will die at the hands of Darkseid. The final fight will be Superman and Batman versus Darkseid. Eventually, Darkseid loses and is killed by Black Adam, who pops in to kill him when both Superman and Batman are holding him down. So, Black Adam picks up Aquaman's spear he dropped when he passed out earlier in battle and stabs him in the head while electrifying the spear as Superman heats up the tip of the spear. The fight will be over and an epilogue will take place. At the end, they will hold separate funerals for the 5 characters killed, where characters important to each will show up at each funeral. We will also see a scene at Martian Manhunter's funeral, where they declare Themyscira and Atlantis are now allies and have officially joined the United Nations. We will also see the Lanterns and Superman helping put the Watchtower back together, and in the mid-credit, we'll see Constantine receive an anonymous message from Batman saying to meet him somewhere. When he arrives, we meet the Batman who laughs, and Constantine says to go back to his universe, to which Batman says, but why? The party's just beginning. None of my guests have arrived. Which sets up the next project, Infinite Earths, the Dark Universe Season 1. So once again, like the first Infinite Earths series, this is going to be an anthology series where each episode will show a different version, but of this time of Batman in the Dark Universe and how they came to be. So the Dark Universe is, as mentioned previously in the first Justice League Dark film, it's pretty much a different multiverse where all the characters are bad. So amongst the Dark Knight's members, we will meet Joker Batman, Doomsday Batman, Ares Batman, Green Lantern Batman, Aquaman Batwoman, Conqueror Batman, which led the US to take all weaponry from Themyscira and Atlantis as its president, and Incubus Batman. So in the final episode, we will see them all be recruited to become the Dark Knights, and Joker Batman is going to be the one to recruit them. Now, this brings us to the final project in this universe for the 10-year plan. Obviously, I have some things planned for afterwards, but that's way too far in the future, so I'm not going to discuss it unless if you guys want me to. So the final project is Justice League Dark Knights. This is both a Justice League and a Justice League Dark film, where Batman, Black Canary, Orphan, and Batgirl will be a part of it, along with Justice League Dark members. Towards the middle of the film, we'll see Constantine go back into Purgatory to travel to other universes and find other Batmen to help fight in this battle. In the meantime, Justice League Dark and Batman's team will be fighting the Dark Knights. The Dark Knights are beating them up, but then a ton of Batmen arrive from the multiverse to help in the fight. But Constantine must stay in Purgatory as he sees the Batman who laughs killed the evil Constantine when he arrived. So Constantine also realized in this film that there is no way to close off the Dark Universe from the main multiverse from his side alone. So he must go into the Dark Multiverse to find a being that can help him close the portal, Dr. Destiny, who has the helmet of Dr. Fate, but created by the Lords of Chaos. Basically, Constantine will go to fight against Dr. Destiny and get destroyed, but is able to escape back into Purgatory, and then goes to find the other Batman to help DCU Batman in the fight, so Constantine can bring his Justice League Dark team back to the multiverse, take down Dr. Destiny and remove his helmet, forcing the man under the helmet to help. Destiny tells Constantine he sent the Dark Knights to ensue chaos. When they stop him and remove the helmet, they tell him to wait for their signal from the other side, and they return to the fight on Earth as we see all the Dark Knights have been defeated, using Batman's contingency plans against Justice League, since a lot of the Dark Knights are similar to Justice League members. However, 2 to 3 of the Batmen did die, probably a combo of Keaton, Clooney, Titan's Nightwing, who is now Batman, Gordon Levitt, who is now Batman, Gotham Batman, Arrowverse Batwoman, Clooney's Robin, who is now Batman, Clooney's Batgirl, who is now Batwoman. So, I mentioned a lot of characters because it all depends on which of the characters are available for the film. Maybe some of them don't want to do it, but these are the ones that I would say would probably be the most likely to die if they would be the ones to be the characters in this universe. Now, in the end, the Batmen that survive fighting the team would be mainly Batfleck, Battinson, maybe Bale, maybe Keaton, and maybe others along with Batgirl, Orphan, and Black Canary. Once again, it all depends on if these specific actors are willing to be in the film, so I had to give a long list of characters so that you wouldn't think that I'm just going to name off all of these to show up in the film. Not all of these characters are going to show up in the film, but hopefully the majority will. So they're able to send all of them back into Purgatory and back through the portal to the Dark Multiverse. At the end of the movie, all the Batmen return to their universes, and we see Constantine return to Purgatory to take his place as the balance, so the 3 multiverses do not collapse on each other. However, Constantine does tell his team that if they ever need him, to contact Lucifer, as he can communicate a message to Purgatory. In the end credit, we'll hear Batfleck talking to Batgirl about why he is Batman, and we'll hear his monologue while seeing how the universes of the other Batmen are, with quick flashbacks, but then showing new content from each of those universes. At the end of the monologue, he tells her something inspirational similar to how the end of The Dark Knight ends. And at the end credits, we'll have music from all of the Batman films fused, starting, of course, with the Dark Knight theme, where the end of that Dark Knight film, where the theme just starts going, is amazing. So I would love to have that exact same effect here. So this film is pretty much going to be the Spider-Man No Way Home of the DC universe. You could also say Constantine Zero Hour was the Spider-Man No Way Home, but the thing is, I feel like these are characters that more people care about. So definitely this would be more similar to the Spider-Man No Way Home because it's characters that everybody loves and everybody wants to see. So that is the end of the DC 10-year plan. We start this episode off with a Justice League film, tie it back in with another Justice League film where we close off the 10-year story, and then we open up new storylines with Justice League Dark Knights. And hopefully, one day, I can go over the next 11, 12, 13 year of this 10-year plan. Where, honestly, there's one project that I'm really excited about that I came up with an idea for it, but that's for another time. So, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you guys enjoyed this series. I loved making it. It's probably the most creative I've been able to get on this channel, and I'm gonna post a supercut of it, which is gonna be a very long episode. So thank you all for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, and click the bell notification, and see you next time on Big Flick Energy.